Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another couch video. Let me straighten this joint out right here. Okay, yeah. Anyway, right? Clarification on my presentation of the select, non-select paradigm. Ooh, that's a mouthful. But you know what? This past Friday, I was all like people who follow me on my Connect Pal site know I do monthly webinars or present or host monthly webinars. And we have a main part, then we have what we call an after show. And during the after show, somebody had brought up the whole thing with this select and non-select thing. So I started talking about it, and then I said, you know what, I need to do something public on this, and this is more clarity because ever since I introduced the terms a few years ago, everybody else is taking it and run with it. And one of the things that's bothered me, not so much they take those terms. See, understand, that's just another model of how women see men. You could say alpha beta, some people say 80-20 is yet another way saying so, like, the men that women generally go for are the select ones, and the ones that they generally don't are non-select, right? And that's understandable and stuff, but see, one problem I'm seeing is when men embrace being non-select, indeed try to call themselves competing with select men. That's a real problem, particularly from my presentation of the terms. See, I talked about that in this book, Nice Guys and Players. Yeah, in this book, this was published, let me be clear, and this is the fifth printing too. This was published back in 2000. So, but it was never, let me say this again, it was never about saying, well, these are the select guys and those are the non-select guys. That was never the entire presentation. Indeed, I remember somebody back then, he actually wrote a whole post on this one website talking about how the nice guys are better than the players. Thought he was telling me something. I said, did you read my book? He was like, no. Did you know what I was talking about in the book? Because the general premise, think about nice guys and players, the general premise is becoming the man who has the best qualities of both. Because as I started out in the book, it was about, a man named Larry who was dealing with this woman named Krista. And, she saw he would be a good husband and everything, but she didn't give up any panties or anything, didn't have sex with him, right? Because the scenario started out, they go out, she give him maybe a kiss, tap on the cheek or something like that. But then she'd call up another guy, Patrick, to come tear her ass up. And the whole point, I started out that way, talking about how women will use men for one thing and, maybe, do all the nice things and then have sex with the other. The whole point of Nice Guys and Players is becoming that man on multiple levels. The man, the thorough man, the Renaissance man, as Tariq Nasheed would call it. And that's the whole point of the book. So when I presented the select and non-select thing, which I originally got the terms, using those terms from Master Yao. I've mentioned him several times. And indeed, the sub-terms in the groups, like with the select group, you had Mr. Goodbar and the Masked Man. Mr. Goodbar is just that sexy, fine dude and everything, while the Masked Man is that dude. He has some sex appeal, raw sex. He has some raw sex appeal, but he also has money and status. Those were the select. And then the non-select were the gamesmen. Those are guys that didn't really have much, but they still do whatever they can to get sex, lie, cheat, whatever they got to do. And, really go for it. Then, of course, there's the obvious nice guys. All right, so I presented that in there. I presented that who was selected, non-select. And just to be clear, with the permission of Master Yao. Let me be clear on that. I even mentioned his name, and I said I got those terms. But then I said, this is my introduction to all of that. I introduced the fifth term, the real man. And that's the man who's evolved beyond those first four. Because see, those first four, there's problems with all of them. Like it's obvious with the nice guy, but then the gamesman ain't taken seriously. And then the masked man, once a woman gets past like those outer things, she don't like what she sees. When she gets past that man's status, his money, and shoot, even his outer appearance, she don't like what she sees underneath. And with the Mr. Good bars, you get some men, yeah, they getting all this sex and everything, but at some point they get tired of being seen as a sex object. Now I know some guys be like, yeah, I want to do that, but oh, trust me, it's a whole other thing with that. Indeed, I've had when my book Nice Guys and Players first came out, the biggest purchasers of it were guys who got women. They ain't need the book, but they say they wanted to go beyond that. So in Nice Guys and Players, I introduce the real man. Now, it's deeper than just saying the real man. See, the real man's the man who's gotten beyond those categories, even gone beyond select. Even gone beyond select. Now, I haven't talked about the real man publicly as much and going beyond it as much, at least publicly. Because, see, a lot of men read that and they say, oh, I'm there. I don't have to do anything else. Yet they still having trouble with women. Indeed, they having trouble overall in life. Let me just say that again, overall in life. And it's a deeper angle I go into that in the follow-up to Nice Guys and Players, sexual chemistry. Wait, hold on a second. Yeah, see, I go deeper into the real man concept in sexual chemistry. See, understand something. Let me go deep for a bit. In many cultures, they have a general sight of how men are ranked, and this is more indigenous cultures. They, in Kemetic culture, in some Asian cultures, and some people told me about some other cultures that had it, but it's basically there's always 3 levels of man. The lowest level, and I'll use the Confucian terms, the lowest level is the inferior man. That's the masses. That's the masses. And then there's the second level, the superior man. That's the man who's developed his will. He doesn't follow the herd. He's above the herd. He's developed his will. And then there's the ultimate level, the sage. That's the level of Jesus. That's the level of Muhammad. That's the level of Buddha. And I know, yeah, that's getting a little bit into the deep thought thing, but check out my deep thought channel. So the whole point of the real man was to get to that superior man level. Because when you look at the select and non-select, that's a Western thing, and it's limited. It's limited. All of these types of limited, they all have their good points. All of them have their good points, but it's still limited. So the whole point was going to that upper level, was going to that second level. And see, that's what I started in, Nice Guys and Players, and I get into it deeper in sexual chemistry about developing that will. So when I'm presenting that whole select, non-select thing in Nice Guys and Players, it's not saying, oh, this is what you should be and everything. Anybody who's actually read it, I can tell you. Anybody, in fact, somebody's read it, they can tell you which chapter. I tell each one of those subgroups within select and non-select how to evolve to become better, to become real. And then I go on to some other stuff. See, a lot of men are stuck. They're stuck. Let's just be real. They are stuck in a certain place and they don't know how to get from it. Because even when you're dealing with a lot of women, somebody might say, oh yeah, that's great. But then there's some men, they caught up in some drama or something. Because see, when you get to that highest level of the real man, when you get to that level, oh, you still get women. Well, you still get your option, but you're dealing with quality women. But then it's not just the women that you're dealing with. You're the one who's going to be on your mission. You're the one who's going to be authentic. You're not wearing a mask, or you're not suppressing your masculinity. When I talk about like the physical, that's important. You want to be the best version of yourself physically. When you talk of charisma, That's not just, being like the popular dude, but that means you able to get along with different people. You have a power right there. And then masculinity, that's the deepest level. See, one of the things, when I say real man, I mean you really in your masculinity. Let's be real out here. Let's be real out here. We live in a culture now that is suppressing masculinity. Let me say it again. It's suppressing it. A real man out here, he could catch a lot of hell, not even just from women's hell. They want the motherfucker. But he can catch it from lesser men. Because remember, I've talked before about Amazon women and shadow men. There's a lot of shadow men out here. They ain't really doing. See, understand. The real man is that type. He's developed his will, and at a place he can impose his will, not just on himself, but on the environment around him that he controls. Let me say that again. He can impose his will on his environment. How many guys can really say that? I mean, truly say that? Seriously. How many men can really say that, especially when we're in a space when many men are complaining about what women doing? How's a real man going to say what women are doing? They don't have no power over you. They can't hold a gun. I don't care what they do. I don't care what they... I mean, you got some men doing some videos and stuff. Well, these women got this and they messing with this. Nobody has control over a real man. The most he might do is cooperate because it benefits him. Understand that. Understand that. Anything less is weakness. And so, what men, my whole point, anybody, like I said, anybody's read the books can see I said that. Even with the guys I would term as Mr. Goodbar. Yeah, they're getting the women, but they need to have more sexual discipline. I say that in the book. I said, and I've told ones directly. I said, hey, you want to get some stuff done, you got to have more discipline. Because I've had several coaching clients. I mean, they ain't need my help in getting women. Shit, a few could do videos on here. But they wanted to do something else. So what I talked to them about, I said, okay, why don't you use that discipline? You already know you can get women. You need to limit that. Focus on the women who are actually assets to you. Boom. Heck. And a lot of times they got a lot of the stuff to be real men, except for that discipline piece. But once they get that fire within them under control, they can rise to a higher level. Indeed, a man using that inner fire, that inner energy to rise to a higher level is something a lot of secret societies know about. Anybody who's watching this who's a Mason, they might know what I'm talking about. And they could probably add something to the conversation. Just to be clear, I'm not a Mason. I just know a lot. But look, here's the thing. And this is more specifically, like the guys who are truly select, they ain't as bad. They ain't as bad because one of the things I've noticed with them is they still try to improve themselves. They still try to go to a higher level. So they at least get that point. But my message now is to guys who call themselves non-select and act like that's a great thing. No, you're supposed to evolve. That's just telling you ain't stuck there. That means you're not being the best version of what you could be. And if you think you're the best version, well, here's a simple test. How you live in life. If you having a bunch of problems in life and stuff, and you having problems with these people, you having problems with these guys because you think they get more women, that's not your best version. Because if a man living in his best version, he doesn't worry about everybody else because he's sitting back chilling. He's like, yeah, all right, yeah, y'all got that. Okay, yeah, okay, fine. He ain't worried about some women talking about what they're doing, or, you get a lot of guys talking about, well, feminist this, feminist that. Yeah, feminists don't, I don't care. They can do a lot. They can't mess with my ass. And the men who gonna follow what I'm saying what to do. Shit, the feminists be submitting to me. Yeah, I said it. And I've had encounters with plenty, and they changed up when they took one look in my eyes and they were like, And there's actually plenty of men like that. Learn from what they do. I personally know plenty of men. Indeed, I know plenty of men who risen above like those categories. And they got families, they got nice women, or at least at the very least, they got their choice of who they deal with. They ain't dealing with any women with drama Or they ain't talking about some woman trying to get over on them on money. Because they just look at that woman like, they won't even say anything. They don't have to say, get out of my face, argue with. They just give her a look. And the woman's like, let me move to the next one. That's the important thing. That's the important thing. And they live in life on their terms. Their terms. And that, like I said, that goes beyond women. Just being in a position where you have power, where you have sovereignty over where you choose to live, how you choose to work, how you choose to make your money. Because a truly sovereign man, a truly sovereign man could work for someone else if he chooses to because of the business or whatever he's doing. But if he's truly sovereign, he really has a choice over that. And he's even more sovereign if he controls his own income, his own livelihood, how he moves. He's not a follower. Understand that. In fact, that's the true alpha. One of the reasons I don't use the term alpha because I believe every single man can be alpha. Let me say that again. Every single man can be alpha because ultimately an alpha is in charge of his world. If he has a family, he's in charge of that. And anyone who knows that family can become a nation. Understand that you got a family, you in charge, you the alpha of that family. But a man got to be at that point where he feels like he's his true self. Not a suppressed guy, not some guy being some nice guy and like trying to be kind and stuff, repressing his sexual energy or having fear. Or, he trying to like use whatever tricks or something to try to get women or something. The women see through it anyway. Or using that money and status as what it is a mask. Because what happens when she gets past that mask? What happens when anybody gets past it? What happens when you lose it? Then what? Or some man just being a sex toy just for some women. If a man wants to have sex, it's great. Have plenty. As long as it empowers him. So every what I talk about in Nice Guys and Players, and even knowing that select, non-select thing, is to know where you stand and know where you have to work from to get to a higher level. And that's what it's all about. That's what my whole thing has always been about, evolution. And like I said, this is especially for many people who want to like embrace it in everything. That's weak. Yeah, I said it. That's weak. If necessary, I'll get in your face and say it. Seriously, that's weak. Every single man, I don't care where you start from, needs to be rising to a higher level. Like every moment trying to be better. You either grow in this world or you die. You either live by your will or you live by someone else's will. And that's always been my philosophy. People talk about, I don't know, some people call me a dating coach and everything. But if you look at what I talk about, it's about the whole life. Even in my book, Nice Guys and Players, that plenty of people get it, say, what can I do to get the women? But anybody who's ready, what do I get to at the end? And then in sexual chemistry, what do I get to by the end? It's about having that best life. The women really are the commercial. Yeah, they play a good part, and trust me, they can play a powerful part in getting you to that level, but it's fueling you. It's at the deepest level, it's using that sexual energy to create your life. Understand that. So I just want to make that clear. If someone has to say, well, what's Rom talking about? Evolution. Being the best man you could be, and I'm giving you a path to do it. And if you live in a life and you don't like something about it, well, you got some more work to do. And let's just be clear. All of us got that work to do. All of us got that work to do. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think you got, how much money you think you got, or how many women you think you got. If you're still on this earth, as a man, you want to get higher. Because think about something. The very nature of the man is to have territory, have boundaries. You want to expand that joint. So I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how fine you think you are. I don't care how smart you think you are. There's always something more you can learn if you think you're smart. There's always a way to keep you, even if you in the top 1% physically on this planet, you still got to work just to maintain that. And then since 99% of the other population isn't at their top physical form, then they got something to work on. And if you're thinking about just getting women and stuff, well, whatever women that you currently get, you want to think about getting better women. And then overall life, you want to live your best. You want to have every single moment the best. And if you can't say every single moment you get from the time you get up to the time you go to bed, and even what you dream about isn't, there's any issues, you got something to work on. But I'm gonna tell you what, you should love that, because men need to always have something to do. Men need to have growth. All right. So hey, look, let me just be clear on that. And I started talking about that select, non-select thing, but it's a diagnostic tool to let you know where you need to go to become that superior man, to become that real man. All right. So everybody got that work. So get to work. All right. I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.